Hi, thanks for stopping in. This isn't a reading, but a little bit of a writing session for family caregivers or those that would like to write about family caregiving. I'm an author of The Accidental Caregiver Challenges and Triumphs of Intimate Family Caregivers. It's a book that talks about the lives of about 9 caregivers, including my mom, who looked after my dad for 21 years. Dad had MS, was diagnosed when I was 43 and in my first year of nursing school. And I went on to have a career in home care and then as a nurse educator and researcher over the years. Most of my career has been in community and in home care. And I've had the opportunity to interview over 75 family caregivers throughout my research program over the last 20 years. But of course, can't talk about them all in one little book. So you'll learn about approximately 9 family caregivers. I also teach some workshops on writing, not just about caregiving, but on other things. But I found it quite rewarding when family caregivers are prompted and supported to tell their stories because we all have them. So this little session is going to be brief, but I'd invite you to stop the video for a minute if you don't already have a pen and pencil and journal handy. It can be any scribbler at all or a notepad. We're just going to start with a few prompts to get you started. So now that you've got your pen and pencil, look around you. Stories are everywhere. You might write about an object that's symbolic of your caregiving experience. You might write description. So what does it look like? What's the room like where you provide most of your care? Those of us, a kitchen is a kitchen, but for caregivers, we often have notes around. There's dosettes, medication, perhaps some other supplies, and those kinds of things. So why is your kitchen different now that you're a family caregiver? You might also write about your experience, how you're feeling. So you can write that down. What's my experience like? Another way to look for prompts and ideas for writing is to use your senses. Going through the 5 senses. What does something smell like? What does something taste like? What do I see? What do I hear? What do I feel? But I've got just a few prompts that I'll offer you today to get you started. Our stories are everywhere, and so I'll start with a prompt, and then I invite you to shut the video off for maybe 5 minutes, maybe set a timer. It doesn't seem so arduous when we're writing and getting our thoughts down if we know it's only for a short period of time. So I'll offer a prompt and then invite you to shut the video off, and then when you start it again, we'll chat a little bit more and offer you another prompt. So your first prompt is for someone who is a caregiver or isn't a caregiver. It can be anyone, but your first prompt is, a caregiver is someone who. A caregiver is someone who. And you're invited to finish that statement and write as long as you like. And welcome back. I hope you found that interesting. And that's a prompt that might be used as a conversation starter with a group of friends or with your family when you're all trying to describe and understand the experience of what it's like to be a caregiver. Another prompt is reflective, and it's about helping to find your way into why do you do this. Sometimes caregivers don't know what keeps them going. Sometimes you might be feeling overwhelmed. And it helps to think about, well, why am I doing this? Why am I a caregiver? Why am I a caregiver to so and so? So I'm going to offer this prompt, and again, you're invited to shut off the video for about 5 minutes and just write and think about that. The prompt is, I am a caregiver because I ... I am a caregiver because I... And welcome back. I don't know what your experience is with that prompt, But I find when I ask myself, I am a blank because it helps me dig into some of my motivations about why I do what I do. There's all kinds of tools and resources around us to help begin to tell our story, particularly if you want to tell your caregiving story. And some little prompts or material that might help is just around your home might be a letter or an email that you wrote or received. It might be a family recipe talking about food. If you do any large amount of reading at all, you'll see there's a tremendous amount of books out there that talk about food and have recipes, because often food is a central part of our life, and it continues to be when we're a caregiver as well. So a family recipe might be a prompt. Looking at a photograph or of a memory or of a current event. You might write about an event you attended, or a newspaper article or something you read might spark something. So that can be a prompt to help get you started around something you want to write about. Ephemera, things like a ticket stub or a cash register receipt or a prescription of a medication, all kinds of things. Just those little things that you might find in your purse that are like, oh, why did I keep that? And it might give you a prompt. Mementos, like cards, they might be a prompt for you. So they're everywhere. And I invite you to think about that, and you might even want to stick them in your journal as something you might want to write about later. And sometimes caregiver stories are important for family to see what your life is like or what you're experiencing. You might desire to leave a memoir for your family. A memoir isn't only something that's published by a publisher and purchased in a bookstore. Many families write their own memoir, family history of either a certain time in their life or a certain event, and they're left for other family members to enjoy and remember. There is a prompt that I really like, and I find it very powerful because expressing ourselves can be difficult sometimes, whether it's circumstantial or maybe it's our personality. We don't find it easy to articulate what we really want. But I actually love this prompt that says, the story I really want to tell you is, or what I really want you to know is. That's an invitation to say what's deep inside. You don't need to share these things. You can rip them up. You can hide your journal. You can burn them. But that is something that often helps us enter into a deeper place to tell the truth and to find our own voice. So again, I'm going to invite you to turn off the recorder when you're ready. The story I really want to tell is ... The story I really want to tell is. And welcome back. So that might have helped you get a little bit deeper into terms of what you're thinking and what you're feeling. And I hope it was beneficial. You might want to keep writing about things, and you can keep going today because you're in your own home, and you can just shut me off and tell your story, and you can carry on and do these things. If you liked what you were doing today, you might want to keep your journal handy and perhaps write a few words every day about your experience, particularly if it's memoir you're wanting to tap into. You can journal 10 minutes each morning. Maybe it's each evening when you go to bed. And it's also sometimes nice to think about what was good that happened today. Because sometimes in the life of a caregiver, the relentless day in and day out caregiving, it's tough to find those little things that are meaningful, important, that made you feel really good, because that's sometimes what keeps you going. And I think regardless, we need to find out ways that we can help caregivers keep going. So I invite you to continue doing this. I hope your stories go somewhere. And if you ever want any further assistance or help with telling your caregiver story, feel free to reach out to me. My website is KimberlyFraserAuthor.com. That's KimberlyFraser author.com. Take care.